This is Unit 6, Week 1, question number 6. What was the election of 1896? In American history, this is a critical realignment election. It represents a movement in what each of the parties stood for. It had been underway and it keeps underway after that, but this election really began the parties moving to what they look like today. In 1896, the two candidates, the Democratic candidate was William Jennings Bryan. He's going to get 176 electoral votes. The winner is the Republican, William McKinley. He ended up with 271 electoral votes. The populists, however, double nominated Bryan because the Democrat Bryan stole the populist ideas. What did the Democrats stand for? Bryan, a dark horse candidate. Traditionally, Democrats had been the party of big business, the party of immigrants in the cities. Bryan now says they're in favor of free coinage of silver, or a 16-to-1 ratio. He gives his famous speech, "I will not be crucified, you shall not crucify mankind upon a cross of gold." The Democrats are not going to be held to the gold standard to destroy them. But what that meant is all the solid gold Democrats, solid gold business Democrats, moved and began to move into the Republican Party. The populist farmers and who had previously been Republicans moved into the Democratic Party. The only part of the country that stayed the same was the South. They were Democrats. They were still voting the same way they shot in the Civil War. And they stayed that way for 100 years. But the two parties start to move. So you start to have the Republicans become the party of conservative business, stability, and the Democrats the party of the worker and the farmers. Although they lose this election, it does begin to realign the Democratic Party, and when FDR emerges in the New Deal during the Great Depression, that's forever going to make a new permanent Democratic Party that represents the worker and the laborer. Anyways, that's it from some guy in an Aloha print shirt. Bryan runs twice, never wins, but does directly realign what each party stands for. And that's it from some guy in an Aloha print shirt.